All right, you guys ready for the sausage party?
Yep.
What kind of pizza you got?
How the sausage is made.
How no one wants to know. They just
Nobody.
want the sausage.
Okay, you're
it.
saying you and your son have been rewatching Simpsons?
Yeah, my boy, my 10-year-old is a Simpsons junkie. He can fill in the blanks when I'm trying to think of a Simpsons. He's like, oh yeah, that's the flaming mole. I'm
That's
like, yeah,
awesome.
that is the flaming mole.
At what age can you officially start letting your kids watch The Simpsons? Because I'm amped for that age, but Titus is going on 5 right now. It's too soon.
Well, if it's
Maybe
your first,
putting Paul out on blast. Maybe he doesn't want people to know
like,
that
you
his
can't do
kids
that yet.
are watching The Simpsons.
there's some truth to the what you're driving at, though. Is we couldn't watch The Simpsons growing up.
Same. Or no, never mind. Not same. It's same to a certain age, but we got to watch it way before our friends did because my parents loved it.
But your dad is a different.
Yeah.
Well, it was my mom driving it. My mom would always say, "Not in my house." She'd say, why do I have to bring this garbage into my house? They didn't want us watching Scooby-Doo,
No way.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah, but
They didn't want us dressing up for Halloween.
Yeah.
We're not going to celebrate Satan's holiday.
Oh, they were serious.
Whoa.
Serious, huh?
And my mom really drove it. And my dad loves my mom so much.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants us to keep sleeping with her, too.
Yes.
That's
Do
important.
you think they
that
would
is
still? Do you think that they would
No.
still do that now?
No.
They probably see it differently.
No. In fact, my 8-year-old daughter, we went over to my parents' house, and she was dressed as a witch. And my parents thought it was just great.
Yeah.
Did they give her candy?
Tons of candy.
See, now they're a part of it.
they just high five her. They're like, we
What?
love Satan.
I know,
Is
right?
that recording, Zach?
I
It's not plugged in though. Real quick technical difficulty.
Sweet.
Quick technical difficulty.
Halloween at your house.
It is. Oh man, my wife goes out. Like she goes all out with her.
The house, the
Not the
costumes.
house, the costumes and stuff like that. We gotta hit every.
She did the Alice in Wonderland thing, didn't she, this year?
No, she
No.
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus, that's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Sampson sisters or Anderson sisters or something like that. So yeah, she goes all out for that. I love this time of the year too. But it's when we do the apple orchards, all that. She does the Halloween parties, like at kids' daycare and
Is that
things.
recording?
So,
Has it ever come up with you being a pastor?
The camera.
Does it ever come up between you and people that you know, people that go to your church? Hey, do you celebrate?
sure.
What's the answer?
My answer is yeah. Not that I celebrate Halloween. My heart of this whole matter is not to worship the devil or anything like that. Some of the best times when I was younger came when I was out trick-or-treating, running around. It was like a little bit of freedom I got to feel with me and my brother. And then it was got to run out and get candy. Our biggest thoughts were, how much candy can we get? You know, my heart wasn't that I was worshiping any type of devil and stuff like that, but there's a lot of people out there that have taken shots at my wife. Another person has, and yeah.
For participating in Halloween?
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
Because she's the wife of a pastor, or okay.
Yeah. So I get my share of it. Everyone has their opinions, you know,
Right.
and everyone. Some people freak out about it. Some people don't. Some people are wise enough, I believe, to know, all right, this is what it stands for. This is why they don't like it. My heart isn't for that, though, so I'm not going to engage in the arguments because I get their point. But at the same time, it's just, I want Reese's Pieces at the end of the night.
Right.
And if my son doesn't come home with Reese's Pieces at the end of the night, he's out. All right? Do they want to see this child out on the streets starving?
Right.
They want that?
It's all back on them.
I feel like the Halloween argument for Christians is almost like the
Can we
the,
get
the
this
flip
thing
end.
cracked off
What's
like,
up?
first? Can we?
This is cracked off.
Okay,
Chris.
well,
this is
let
cracked
me-
off. We'll
hang
get
on
in,
here.
we'll get into Paul.
Okay, this is
So to
it.
speak.
This is it. I'm sorry, sir. Please continue.
I feel like the Halloween argument is like the same as Christmas because if you go into the actual origins of Halloween, right, it's some dark stuff. If you go into the actual origins of Christmas, it's also some dark, like pagan stuff.
Well, like the
It's-
day that it lands on, not necessarily
Not what
what
Didn't
we
they
are
cr-
celebrating Christmas
No.
for. they just basically took December 25th, which was a pagan holiday,
Right.
and said, now instead of doing that pagan stuff, we're going to celebrate Jesus' birth.
But then let's mix in Santa. That's also got some like weird
Well,
stuff
it's not
to
like
it, though.
Christians
Yeah.
were just like,
That's true. That's true.
Everyone's
But
going
like,
to hell
but
because they
I guess
believe in Santa.
what I'm saying is point B. It's kind of like your intention of it, or you know what I mean. Your mind.
That's
behind
how
it.
I look
Yeah.
to it. To me, and I say this often, is I think it's up to people's convictions. Like if you have a like same people will say like, this is not, pork's not okay to eat, and well, it is. It speaks about it in Acts where Jesus, he said, don't say anything is unclean that I may clean, after showing Peter a sheet. So to me, I believe it's the conviction of it. If you've got an issue with it, well, to do something that you believe you ought not to do is considered a sin. So don't do it.
So
But
Jesus made the pork clean. That makes sense.
It
So I
makes
was
so
trying
much
to-
sense.
Yeah.
So much
I've
sense.
been wondering that.
No, so what I'm saying is, it's your conviction. Some
Yep.
people still say it's unclean, pork is, and that you shouldn't eat it and you shouldn't touch it and stuff like that. And other people, like myself, I want bacon with my eggs, right? So I think it's just up to people's conviction, what they believe is right and what they believe isn't. If you don't think you should, don't celebrate it. If
Yeah.
it's- So that's just kind of where I'm at. It's not a cop-out. It's just... if your heart will be sucked into the fact that it's about witches and we should go cut off some goats' heads and stuff like that, and
You're
put
kind
a
of
horse
celebrating
head,
something different.
then it's just
than
like
most of us.
if that's what you got
Yeah.
wound up in here, maybe you shouldn't celebrate Halloween because you're gonna kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that that's right and that's the right view to view it. I'm just saying at my house, this is how we view this. So.
If you were to really break it down.
Yep.
Yep. And we're here to break it down.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yep.
So, getting here, we have the man, the myth,
The legend.
the legend, Paul Hannig. It has been, well, go introduce yourself. Are you married? You got kids? What do you do for a living? What is your gig? And then
Sure.
we'll get into some conversation.
Sure. Paul Hannig. I grew up in the area. I'm a 46-year-old man with 3 kids.
Very handsome looking man.
I
Amazing.
work at Rambo. I sell at Rambo. So Rambo is a T-shirt company. We print T-shirts and embroider hats and whatnot. 40-year-old company, 42-year-old company, something
Polo
like
shirts.
that. Polo
and
shirts.
All types of stuff you embroider. Yeah.
Yep. What else about me? I grew up in Wilmer, 93 graduate. I'm still in the area. I live in Spicer. My wife works at Jake's Pizza. I got a
pretty cool.
12-year-old, 10-year-old, 8-year-old.
How good is she at getting the pizza to you when you order it?
I told her. I gave her a text about 5 minutes ago. I said, "Don't worry about the pizza."
That's probably a good
Because,
call.
I mean, you're not going to be. You ever ate with another man?
Yeah.
Watch them eat. I was telling my wife this the other day. I go out to lunch with guys here and there, and I've said to her, I don't like watching them eat.
Mm-hmm.
How can you stand watching us guys eat? They're chipmunking. You got food in each cheek, and you're chewing. I'm just thinking, you're disgusting.
It probably would have been a disaster because you can really hear yourself with these headphones on.
Little thing
yeah.
that you hear.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
she might
There's
still
somebody
bring
in
it.
this room that has an issue with.
You would have been
real big issue
snacking.
with
Now
yeah.
that's a good call because you would have been snacking. I would have heard your lips smacking and stuff. I'd have been like, bro, shut it down. Okay.
Dude, my 12-year-old has been eating with his mouth open lately and driving me nuts.
Yeah.
I'll hear him when he's across the room. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think of myself like that, but when you have kids,
Yeah.
My 8-year-old's the same way.
dude, I got called out by my dad when I was really young, but I didn't know the term smacking. You just as a kid, you just think smacking. So he's just like, Zach, stop smacking. And I was like,
I'm not smacking
yeah,
anybody.
I was like, okay, he's just being dad. I just kept going, and he's just like looked at me with that dad look
Yeah.
of like,
One more again.
yeah,
Do it one
And
more
I just
time.
realized I was screwing up somehow, so I just like look at mom, like, what? And she's just like, you're chewing with your mouth open. And I was just like, geez, just say that, bro. You're making up words to get me in trouble.
But it worked.
Yes.
Now it's stuck with you.
Oh, it stuck
and-
with me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So there's a lot more to me, but we'll just
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah,
onion.
what's your
You
blood
gotta-
type? Your
I want
social
to. So I did
security?
want to talk about this,
Yes,
Paul. You
passwords.
were supposed to be here a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And had to cancel due to COVID.
COVID, yeah, I had it. I on a Friday night wasn't feeling well. We've all been sick. We all kind of know when things are coming, but you're doubting it a little bit. And I didn't even think about it being COVID, and don't feel well. Got a little mild fever, 100.1, 100.5, something like that. And the next day, the fever's still there. I don't feel great. I'm trying to think of what else happened. There's not much of a story to it, other than I took
It didn't
the
hit
COVID.
you super hard
No,
like it has other people.
No. It hit me worse than my wife. My wife had it as well, but I had low energy. The fever went away about 3 days after it came on, so the fever wasn't there, but just low energy. And then the whole time you had it, have any of you guys had it?
Not that I know of.
Okay. What was in my mind was, is this going to get worse?
Right.
Is it going to get worse? And you listen to the doomsday if you choose to listen to doomsday news. Just news in general is doomsday. So that was kind of the demons knocking on my door the whole time is this going to get worse? I'll back up a little bit. About 4 days into it, I took an at-home test. Part of why I took an at-home test is I know you can go to Walgreens and there's a drive-up thing that you can do. They can test you. But do they give that information to Caris Health? I don't know. I didn't want them to give it to Caris Health because, and again, if you guys get it, the whole time I was thinking, who's going to have a problem with me being around other people?
Right.
And if they know I have it, because there's obviously a lot of shaming going on. Mm-hmm. Is it justified shaming? I don't know.
Shaming for having COVID?
Shamed for being around people.
Oh, gotcha.
So if I knowingly have COVID and I choose to be around other people that I don't know is vaccinated or if they've had it or do they have any health issues, by me being around them, am I being selfish?
And are you asking it from the perspective like when you're still sick or okay? Yeah.
When I was sick,
Right.
Because
Did these people know that you had it?
well,
They do now.
I went to work. No. So when I knew that I had it, when I took the at-home test, which is interesting, you swab each nostril and you put it in this solution. You close this little thing for 15 minutes, and when it comes back double-lined, almost like a
Pregnancy test.
Yes, it means you've got it.
So congratulations.
That's exactly. I cried with tears of joy. Yeah.
And then I went to work and told everyone I'm pregnant. I don't know why people would be mad about that.
Right. But when I knew that I had it, I didn't go back to work. I didn't go back for a week, even though I was at work for 2 days when I had it.
Right.
But I didn't know
Right,
that
I
I
know.
had it.
Yep.
So it's the knowing is the devil's juice. I mean, is the
Bro, that's nothing. That happens. Everyone goes to work or goes somewhere. They feel like crap, and then they go get tested, and they're positive.
Case in point, Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's-
My friend Peter just
Peter works here?
So he's probably bound to work here, but he's one of my good friends, and we just had him on for the last podcast. And then it was my birthday this last weekend, so we all went out, and he just got sent home from work. He's like, yeah, I got aches and pains, and he just told us this morning that he has COVID, and so now it's like
you were with him.
we were all with him,
Sitting right here.
So round 2 for you, it's supposed to be a lot worse. But
But isn't that such an impossible scenario? Imagine if we were like, okay, we had interaction with somebody that then later had COVID. That what are we gonna do? Are we gonna stop working for a week because maybe?
it's like we're all
Even when
just
you're feeling
pouring
fine.
sweat and stuff but
the
I
thing
feel
is,
great.
It's like me and my family have been blessed, not lucky, but blessed. Like my job through the whole time, as we've talked about before, was dealing with the sick. Just because the world shuts down doesn't mean pastors' jobs shut down. That's when things come more prevalent and people need.
Almost like firefighters. You guys run into the fire, right?
And as much as I've been around it, the Lord has kept me and my family from it. Like even this stuff, it's constant stuff. Like, yeah, Peter has it. We were just with him. Or someone at my wife's work had it. She was with her for a couple days or whatever it may be. And so there's just a lot of, not coincidences, but God has been
God
super good.
incidences, sure.
Yeah.
So you don't think you've had it?
I don't believe I have.
Taste. So right now I have about 10% of my taste and I have 0% of my smell.
Really?
So that's the litmus test, so to speak, I would think.
But that's not in 100% of the cases.
You're right.
Though.
Yep.
But it is one of those things. If you get that, pretty damn sure you got it. Was it your mom, Zach? You were saying that, like,
yeah, she has
she's nauseated by food.
She has parosmia, which I've heard a couple people, and that's a couple people have, and that's where she started out losing her sense of smell and taste, and then she got it back, but now it's like food is just foul to her.
Yes.
Especially meats, like eggs. I'd say a lot of protein-based stuff seems to be like the most harsh for her, but she can pretty much only have like yogurt. It's like the one thing that she's plain yogurt.
And there's a name for it, you said?
Parosmia.
Parosmia.
Yep, my mom's been complaining about it. My aunt had it before her, and so my mom even said, she's like, yeah, you kind of are just like, it's probably just in your head. Then she got it, and then, I mean, even us are kind of like, well, we don't know if it's, in your head. And then another friend of mine explained it very well in like a Facebook post, what he's been doing.
And this is a segment of COVID.
Yep, so it's like a side effect after the fact that people, even though they're finished with COVID, it's just a lingering side effect or symptom.
Got it.
And in most or all cases, has that eventually gone away, or is there somebody that maybe has had that for like a year?
My aunt, I think she's recovered most of her senses, or stuff doesn't taste so bad. But my mom's had it since June. She hasn't eaten meat.
Yeah.
She just can't.
Yeah.
Like we went to Grizzlies like about a month and a half ago, and we were about to walk in, and I went, "Oh, that smells good." And all of a sudden, I was like, "I shouldn't have said that." And she's just like, she's like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that." And she's just like, she's like, "Well, let's walk inside." Oh. And she walked in, and she's just like, "I can't." Like
she walked in the Grizzlies, and it was just sickening.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have a rotisserie chicken.
Oh, that looks so good.
Greatest smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
So it was just kind of one of those awkward things where like we walk in and then we're like, "Sorry, we can't eat here." The lady's like, "What did I do?"
Is there any good restaurants where they just it doesn't smell like anything?
It's like a vacuum sealed restaurant.
They'll have to come out with them because I'm sure someone's being offended.
I'm sure.
I'll say that if that was a common thing and that was happening and they were like, "Man, it's just not going away for anybody. This might be for life," I'd be way more freaked out. Mm-hmm. I would be a little bit more
like, you don't get to taste steak anymore.
Well, that's like hell, isn't it? Where they say like food turns into like ash in your mouth or something like that, or. But it's like
Pastor.
I don't know what I'm referencing.
I don't know what you're referencing either.
I'm thinking of something, but
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, maybe.
Someone did mention to me, "Hey, maybe it's a good time to change your eating habits." Not that I'm that overweight, I didn't think, but she was
overweight. You
It was.
This dude is like
he's overweight, but it's all muscle
here. Yeah,
but no. If you want to start eating more greens, wherever you want your eating habits to go, maybe it's plant the seed now, and just keep your foot on the gas because I can't taste.
That would be excellent advice for anybody dealing with this, especially just like the lack of just being able to taste in general. If everything makes you sick to your stomach, you probably got a different problem. But if you just can't taste,
right,
like that's a great time
Some
to
people
start
are
eating good.
definitely going to use that as a cop-out. Like, oh, yeah, all those healthy foods, I have parosmia, so they just taste bad. So I can only have like...
Maybe that's what it is.
Just,
that I have towards vegetables, parosmia.
Did he pronounce it right?
Parosmia.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not going to say anything. But Paul's just like,
what do you
spell it?
Somebody
Spell
correct
it.
that guy?
Right? Sorry, what are you talking about, Chris?
Right.
We're talking about something completely different.
Bosnia? I'm talking about parosmia.
So Paul, do you mind me asking that? Were you vaccinated?
No, I was not.
Okay. It's
And why? Why wasn't I?
Well, I don't know if I
I'm
would be
freaking
if I
done
were
with
your
this
age.
podcast. I'm not going to sit here with these unvaccinated heathen.
Ooh, we got some news to break to you, Chris.
Yes.
Right. Am I at risk? I'll answer my own question since you guys aren't asking me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was getting to that, but Chris interrupted me.
I didn't think I was at high risk.
Yep.
I mean, I was at risk to get it. Don't you guys think everyone's going to get it at some point?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I
what
do.
I thought. It's like
Okay.
a cold.
I do.
Right. But everything I hear about the vaccine is your symptoms aren't going to be as bad. You're not going to get as sick. You're still going to get sick,
Yep, but not as sick.
but not as sick. And I thought, well, that's,
But you didn't
Okay.
get as sick though either without it, correct?
I mean, if on a scale of 1 to 10, if I was a 3 or a 4, I would put myself a 3 or a 4, 10 meaning death.
Yep.
If I was a 3 or a 4 and it could have been turned into a 2 or a 3 by putting an unknown substance in my body, I don't think I would have changed anything.
Is it unknown, or do they have?
This vaccination,
Yeah, or do they have information about what it actually is going?
We're
on?
all playing the devil's advocate. None of us are vaccinated either. We've
Right.
chosen not to get vaccinated. So we're playing the devil's
We're gonna
advocate
grill you about
just
it,
so
yeah.
you know.
Yep, that's good.
that it's not that, we're just grilling you. But
I think it's out there. If I was really interested in it, if any of us were really interested in it, I'm sure we could listen to more podcasts that from vaccination specialists.
Arguably, I would say it's the most studied vaccination on Earth, but
Unlimited-
it's only
Right now.
studied for short term.
Unlimited budget, though. I was
Right.
listening to a podcast last night. The guy was saying, what's different about this vaccination? Well, one of the things that's different is unlimited budget. The world threw billions behind it and said, take out all the roadblocks. We need grade A. We need it now. Get it done. And okay, I thought that was pretty good. Okay, so I didn't think I was at risk. I was at risk to get it, but not die. I feel like they're constantly changing. The experts are changing what the public needs to do. So
because I don't think they know.
they don't
That's why
know,
they keep
and they
changing it.
can't say I don't know.
Right.
Experts are
They
supposed
get-
to know.
They get paid to say this is what's wrong.
That's right.
This is what's wrong, and I think that's the issue for me with the vaccine is, well, what's good right now and might fix something for a year. What happens if I'm growing a third
Yeah, we know.
leg?
Yeah.
type thing.
Right. And do we have other vaccinations in all of our
It's too
bodies?
late in my life for
We
that.
probably do. Are you guys anti-vaxxers in general with your kids?
I'm not going to get my kids done. I'm
He's
not
talking- He's talking
anti-vaccine.
with
Were they-
COVID-related vaccines.
How about
with
other
kids.
vaccinations when they were born?
like polio or
Right, chicken, smallpox.
yeah.
My son got his. My kids got their vaccines. My son got his all the way up until I think COVID.
Okay.
And then there was a lot of
Yep.
I think it's his last ones, needles being stuck and people doing it's just like, you're not sneaking this in with my son. Like, we're not doing that. So we stopped all of our vaccines, period.
We had sort of a weird thing when Titus was vaccinated.
How old is Titus?
He's going on 5 now. When
Okay.
he was vaccinated, I don't know if it's 6 months or some of those earlier ones, he had a reaction, and his reaction caused
Not the COVID
I'm-
vaccine, just regular vaccines.
I'm referring to the regular vaccines. Yep. I think he do it in like a 2-part, and I believe it was the second part that he got after getting out of the hospital. He had like a brain, like fluid buildup
Head
in
swelling
in his
and
head
stuff.
was swelling, and kids have that soft spot in their skull that as things are moving, kind of like a floating spot, and that whole thing filled up and swelled up. He had a big bump in his head, and this was like immediately
Had
after
a
the
helmet?
vaccines. And
I remember him.
yeah, I
getting
don't
a
think
helmet.
that the helmet was unrelated. This was like before the helmet, I believe.
Well, I'm trying to help
think.
you out, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to help you fight the case.
I'm not gonna lie. Okay, he had a helmet.
I meant Ben's wearing a helmet. Ben usually wears a helmet, guys. I'm sorry.
And yeah, that kind of freaked us out a little bit. And I'm not sure where I stand on all vaccines in general. My wife is getting a little bit more against them for that reason. I mean, when you have a kid that potentially could have died, and that is just a risk of vaccines in general, is like you might just die. I don't know what the 1 in a million or 1 in 100,000 or what, I really don't know. And I would believe that they're probably motivated to make the stats look less bad. An argument could be made for like SIDS and things like that. It has increased since more vaccines, and SIDS is something that could easily be wrapped in a death from a vaccine. with all that being said, I really don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but I understand the other side of it a little bit better. Because it was, nearly personally affected. He's fine, hasn't had any issues from it, but
That's a unique situation that you were in, that not everybody can say, yeah, this happened to me and my son.
Right.
We hear stories, and that's one of the issues with the world today. Are the voices.
Just the stories
Who are
and
you
not
who are
a
you
lot of
listening
truth.
to?
Yeah.
Who are you listening to? Who are you letting in? Who do you allow to influence you? And man, all of us have different roads.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes. So I want to talk more about you.
Sure.
Enough about us, more about you. And just to kind of give how me and you know each other and how me and you have met. Paul has been one of those people in my life that has just always been a blessing to me. Like he's never taken anything from me, never fought with me about stuff. He's always asked great questions. We've had great conversations. And I remember like the first time like that you stick out in my head quite a bit is we were at church and him and his wife, it was him or
I think I remember. Keep going.
gave me a check. I was new at the church here that we were a part of, or that I was at with him. Excuse me. And I know we talked before that, but I just remember getting like a card or getting a check, and he said, "Here, we want to give our tithe to you." And like this was me just getting into ministry too, with like Life Right before it was the Fortress, and I was broke, and it was like $200-300 you guys gave me, and it was like since then they just kept giving to me, or to the church, or to help as the church continues to grow and stuff, and it was just like every time they showed up in my life they were a blessing, and it was super cool, and that's how like I know Paul and then Nick yet from Jake's. So, and just, I've been to their house, at a beautiful house. They got a beautiful house.
That's right. It rained that day. We got stuck in the
We were going to play.
cabana.
We did. Your brothers were there? Your brother
Yeah.
was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just like, you just one of those people that every time you show up, there's another guy named Lowell Schwitters. You and a man by the name of Lowell Schwitters are two people that have always just shown up in my life and have been a blessing. And I'm going to need a check after this.
You got it. I got it.
No, but
Checks
it's
in the
just
mail.
two people that
Checks
has
in the
always
mail.
showed up in my life and has been a blessing. And then I got to meet your father, and I found out who your father was, and your father is a pastor. And so, and I've sat under, I've listened to him teach.
Had you known him before you knew me?
No.
Not knowingly, but do you think you met him?
As a separate entity
Yes.
instead of being his father.
There, that's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm going.
did.
I'm going for. Thank you, Zach.
I actually think I did.
Somewhere at E-Free in Wilmer, or he guest speaks.
Yes, I've met with him
Princeburg.
under. Where I don't remember why I was there. I was out at the church he used to preach at in Pennock.
Kirkhoven. Yeah, E-Free. There's two
I went
churches.
to that church when I was younger.
Okay.
And I remember listening to him preach. Excuse me. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, and I will say there's a 2 or 3 people that make some good expositor teachers and pastors. Man, I heard your dad, and I was like, yeah, this guy.
And when Chris says
He knows
expository, what he means is breaking down a verse and going word by word.
Word by
what
word.
What does this
Yep.
mean?
Verse by verse, not I'm going to pull a verse out of here, pull a verse out of here, pull it like teaching a chunk of scripture.
He's a teacher, yeah.
Yes, and I saw that in him, and I was just like, that guy has got it. And I was looking everywhere, like in Wilmer for that, and I couldn't find it. And I was like, man, that guy's got it. And then I believe I was asked to come out, and I preached out there. I believe your father asked me to come out and preach
In
out
Kirkhoven?
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Which was, I believe so. And so I was super nervous because I'm like, man, this dude is It would be like
It was a high bar.
Yeah, it would be like me getting up and preaching in front of like a R.C. Sproul or a MacArthur now. You know, like it's someone who I look at like, man, I hope I can get there one day. And it just, I remember that, and I fell in love with your dad's preaching.
He's a good dude.
He is.
Yeah,
he is.
good dude.
And then we've done, well, unfortunately, funerals and some other things together. But that's, I just want to go back to how I met you and how you ended up in my life, because it's just, there's not a lot of people that have those kind of people a part of their life that are just always blessings. So just a big shout out to you and your family.
Very sweet of you.
You guys are awesome.
All credit goes to, well, my wife.
Yep.
You thought I was going to give credit to God. I knew you three.
All credit to my wife and then God. If she doesn't listen, then God first.
I don't know if
My
God,
wife, me, my dad, then God.
Let's see. But no, sweet of you to say we don't go to the same church anymore. We don't see. I mean, we'll go months without seeing each other. We'll see each other
I'll see you here
at the gym.
Yep.
And I'll go to the Snap Fitness and Spicer and here. And well, really, that's why I'm here.
Yep.
I mean, Ben and I, we know each other from
Mostly through here.
through here. Just
Workout talks.
right. And the very first time we met, I think I had heard your name. You know, I mean, once you meet Ben, you kind of remember him. And someone said, "Hey, you should go and meet Ben Doles at Snap." And I thought, yeah. So
You've always been fun to have around because you're a Spicer member. But because of the reciprocity, I feel like
Why do you keep
once
putting him
every
out on
month you
blast
pop in.
over the video? Are you trying to get him canceled or what?
How am I canceling him there?
Spicer member, he's
Spicer.
always showing up
I
here.
know Spicer gets all my money, but I come and bang on the weights here.
Oh, so it's you that he, okay.
Yeah,
dropping
you owe
the
him
weights.
some money.
The one
Paul,
getting
you're here
screwed
because
here.
you owe some money.
He pays me with the conversation and a
Checks
check.
in the mail. Checks in the mail.
Had to check in conversation.
No, you're a you are a great example of a Christian to me. I don't, like there's a million people that you see, they have great Facebook posts about Christianity and just all this stuff, but there's not many people I think that you really, when you meet them, that have a heart like what you have. There's a few people in my life that I see that, and that's awesome to see. And I don't know, man. I think you do it very well. I think coming as a son of a pastor, you probably had kind of a weird dynamic or identity thing of trying to it'd be very easy to, and maybe you did have a path in that of kind of rebelling, going the opposite way, or doing it because that's how you were raised to be. But everything about you to me is very genuine.
Genuine, authentic.
That's a good way to put it.
That's
genuine.
that's neat. It's me.
It's pretty neat.
I mean, it's me. I know we're kind of talking about me, and it's uncomfortable.
Good.
That's why you're here.
It is uncomfortable.
Because
I was somewhere. I was in Tennessee, and I was with my customers, and I was the salesman. What do salesmen do? They ask questions. I'm the question asker.
Yep.
But there was a person in the group that kept just machine gun question after question about me, and she said, "You're a little uncomfortable, aren't you? Because you're the one that asked the questions." And I thought, that's good. I like that. And I was uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's uncomfortable.
That's why you're a good salesman, though, is because you're a question asker. Whereas I think most salesmen they're not that. They're really good at laying out the pitches. Really good about talking about themselves and just controlling the conversation and very much and
kind of tricks.
We don't wins.
Like
it works often in the short term, but you hate it. You feel dirty when you buy from them. You're like, I don't want to do this, but
and oftentimes we say in sales, anybody can have one sale.
Yeah.
But can you make a customer a lifetime
back.
customer?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Repeat customers is the way to go. Mm-hmm.
So to make you more uncomfortable, how I was introduced is I just kind of do my own fitness kind of bodybuilding stuff. I'm constantly talking to Ben about it. I'm on my own journey, and he's like, "You need to talk to Paul." And I was like, "Who's that?" And he's just like, "He's an awesome guy." He's like, "He is just jacked and super kind and funny. You would totally get along with him." And then you showed up one time. He's like,
He'll send you checks.
Like,
He's just like,
right.
Checks in the mail.
I've heard a
Checks
lot
in
of
the
good
mail.
stuff.
That is not. That was not what anyone's supposed to get
intended to
out
go
of this.
that
That
way.
was not the intent.
But
Definitely not.
Yeah, and then one time he's like, "Oh yeah, that's Paul." And so I felt all this pressure. I was like, "Okay, Zach, like you're the funny guy. Like show him up. Like show him what you're made of." And then
How I felt coming into this podcast. Like,
Yeah.
I got to be Mr. Witty.
Yep.
I got to be Mr. Funny. Keep going.
So yeah, that was kind of like, I don't know. So I just saw you working out, and I was like, "Holy crap, this guy is jacked. Like he knows what he's
He's
doing."
a beast.
So I did. I was just intimidated in my own way. I was like, "How do I even like?" Because I just felt like the need. Ben's like, "Get to know this guy." So I was like, "Okay, I gotta go to my comfort zone." And you were actually the first one to like make a joke. I think it was with me and my.
I think I called you by the wrong name.
That was just
that
this
number-
last time.
that was-
We
okay.
met a while ago.
Oh, shit.
Of course, I remember.
We've known each other for like 4 months. But yeah, just yesterday you called me by the wrong name.
Yeah. But it was like so in passing. It was just like you were just making a joke with me and my friend Peter, and it just immediately put me at ease. I was like, oh wow, this is a cool guy. This is someone that I'll be able to get to know more in the future. And it seems that way. I mean, even though you got my name wrong, it sparked a good conversation, and then Chris was there, and we just kind of shot the shit, and it was.
Did someone else call you by the wrong name?
I
Same name?
I told you that Coach Kirk did for boxing. He called me.
Kirk Davis.
Yep, he
That's
called me
right.
Mitch like 2 years ago. He's like, "All right, Mitch," and I just kind of like looked, and I think it's because I made eye contact, but he's like, "I was right," and so he called me that like 5 more times, and then when it was done, I was like, "Hey, by the way, it's Zach," and he's just like, "You look like a Mitch."
I'm just going to
He's
stay
stuck
with
to
Mitch.
it.
Yeah.
He's stuck
He
to
calls
it.
him Mitch till today.
Too
Davis
hard to
is a good
remember
one.
that. Yeah, so
So you're bodybuilding, are you doing
I'm not
stuff?
doing like a competition or anything, but I've just had my own goal. I guess growing up, I just had like these manly brothers, and they just picked on
Two,
me and
three,
kind of
what
bullied me.
do you got?
Two
Two?
older brothers.
Okay.
They were one's a stepbrother, one's a half brother. So they were the same age, so they got along great. They were like hunting outdoorsmen, and but I was also kind of my own little like athlete. I just didn't do exactly what they did. I did more like focused on sports. And so in the back of my head, I was always like, I'm going to get jacked and I'm going to beat the shit out of both of you. And my
Now he's
mom,
boxing.
And he's still waiting. He's still getting jacked.
Hey,
Yeah, and so my mom, I remember her saying that. She's like, you better be careful, Matthew. Like one of these days, Zach's he's going to get stronger than you and put you in your place. So it's like, that was a driving motive for a long time. And now it's just, it's kind of just been a passion. And I've set this goal in my mind
Beating
of like,
his brothers up.
yeah,
It's just a passion.
seriously. But yeah, I just have like some goals now that I'm just trying to reach, and it's just.
Dude, I'm so excited you're
aesthetic
getting into
fitness.
boxing. I think that's
Yeah,
going to be
it's a lot
really
of fun.
fun. If you guys keep going at it this winter, I'll definitely be stopping out there a few times.
Golden Gloves. It's still called Golden Gloves Boxing.
Yep. So I did it like 2 years ago, but I didn't know anyone, so it was just constantly awkward. It was like all these teens, like I was 26 at the time, so it's all these teens, and they're just like.
Just beating up kids.
They're like picking me last, you know, like, all right, like,
You too.
yeah, you guys got to pair up. And then you see this kid, he's like, dang it, like, I got to go with the old guy. And I'm just like, and I was like, all right, let's do this. And they would just kick my ass because they've been doing it since they were like 8
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
And I was so new to it. But now I got a few of my friends to sign up with me. So we just did our first one this Monday night. And it was so much fun just having someone you know and just the rapport.
About the same size, about the same
I
skill
was
level.
actually the girl, Abby, who cuts my hair.
So yeah, same size and all.
Okie dokie.
And then
Robert and Kyle. Yep. So,
who's
so we just got like a group
beast.
of people, and we'll be able to kind of like switch here and there. But it was, I mean, Abby can throw a punch. I'll do a plug to her. That was very surprising. I mean, I figured she'd be able to, but I was like still blown away. I was like, dang, dude, I do not want to piss you off.
Yeah, I did boxing for, I think maybe we talked about it for a few months with
Yep.
Kirk Davis.
Yep.
I was 30, I was the old guy, and there was 4 guys that were 200 pounds or more, all kind of the same skill level except for one guy that was super skilled. And he was the reason why I ended up quitting, because he threw a left hook that I never saw. And he was 300 and he had boxed. So his footwork and hands were well timed.
he was 300 pounds.
He was 300 pounds. And he hit me with a left hook. I never saw it. And I remember immediately go to one knee and I just put my hand up and said, that's good. That's good.
Just high fives.
Rang your bell.
And the reason I did it was for a workout. I don't know why you were motivated to do it, but just another workout. You know, Chris, you asked me the other day, how long are you going to do this?
Oh.
As far as working out, you know? And And I said, hopefully I said forever. But there was the time 16 years ago when I was 30, and I just did boxing as a workout. And it is a workout, right?
It is, yeah. Definitely the whole cardio aspect, the conditioning is insane.
Insane.
And that's what I need. But there is just the element of self-defense. I mean, just being able to handle myself if I did get into a predicament.
Yeah.
It's that whole rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. So it's like I'm not
let
trying.
me chew on that one.
Yeah, it's like I'm not trying to get into fights, but I mean, if it came down to it,
You are just more comfortable when you think about like you're going your whole life and all these interactions, and there's always like this. There's very often like some sort of threat of violence when you're walking with your wife down the street and somebody's kind of being a little or they say something and you're in this like defensive. There's very often a threat of something could happen. And probably for most people their whole lives nothing does happen, but to have punched somebody many times in your life and just, you know what I mean? Just to be comfortable doing that, because it takes there's this weird
and getting hit.
Yeah. Just
Because we all have a plan until we get punched in the face, right?
Exactly.
And then you got to go to plan B.
Plan B.
Because you didn't get the first punch.
Knowing what it feels like to punch somebody and get punched and have that be something that you've had repetition after repetition, I think is a powerful thing in life.
I would agree.
Because as you're like around people, you even like you look at somebody like, I know what it feels like to punch you and you punch me, and that whole thing is a little less scary now.
well, it's like honing the fight when it comes to fight or flight. It's like just getting better at
Right.
fight. I mean, I
If
always
you're
thought,
gonna fight, which, hey,
Yeah.
let's, to all the kids out there, if you're gonna be in a fight, you always have, you should have the
should
power
know
to
how to
walk away.
fight.
Well, have the power to walk away.
Yep. I would
Walk
agree.
away first. And if that is not an option,
But how long did that take for you to learn that? Because it's hard today, probably,
to walk away,
to walk away from a verbal. I mean, like as grown-ups, I'm not worried about someone punching me in the face. If they want to, man, let's go get it. I'm not sanctified enough to walk away from that. But if it turns into a verbal argument and things like that, like you don't need to give it time or space, right? You could walk away and just be like, I don't need to deal with this ignorance. It's more harder, I would say, for me verbally, because I don't have that violent threat against me like I used to.
right?
So, but it took me to grow up to get that I don't got to engage in every fight, right? Because it's your testosterone. It's I'm the man. I'm going to show you, even if I get beat up. Oh, he just got a lucky hit, or whatever it is. And so it's harder at that age, is
Right.
what I'm trying to say, because you're still trying to prove a point and show people who you are and what you're made out of.
Yeah.
But
Right.
so when did that time come for you when you're just like, this ain't worth it? Or have you always had that discipline?
I've always had the discipline.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been in a fight.
Because of a PK? Because you're a PK?
I
or
don't
just
know.
A big boy?
No. It's nothing to do with PK. I mean,
PK.
Do you guys,
Penalty
pastor's
kick.
kid? Yeah,
What?
El Paso.
pastor's kid.
That's what they're
I have a couple brothers. I've got 3 brothers, and 2 of them have been in dozens of fights, plural, dozens. So I don't think it's got anything to do with PK.
Yep.
I think it's just my nature
Yeah.
of being. Am I a peacemaker? Kind of.
Sure.
I mean, there's been some moments where you're ready. You feel jacked and ready to go, and by the time you go outside to do it, things just kind of fall apart, and the fight doesn't happen.
That is grace. That's awesome grace right there.
But I've never punched anybody with my bare knuckles.
You
It's
don't
only-
have to. Ain't no one messing with you, Paul.
But being a bigger guy, people do want to mess with you.
Right.
I've had that.
Really?
Oh yeah, Mr. Steroid guy, you think you're so tough? Come on. What do you got? What do you got?
Especially like that bar encounter, and this guy's had a couple too many drinks. He's drinking his
100%.
Red Bull
And the thing-
vodka.
But I can
100%.
see
He
that.
thinks his girlfriend's checking you out. Probably is.
Probably.
He's checking.
But
you out. He's
if
mad
I
about it.
just knew, if I just seen you at a bar and you were drinking and I was drinking, I'd probably look at you like, this dude's a freaking douchebag, right? He's
Yep.
just all freaking muscle,
Yep.
good looking dude. He's got no brain, no nothing. He's just a damn fool. But that's not even close to who you are. So it's I can see, I guess, how somebody would look at that and
Sure.
be like, oh, this freaking gym rat douchebag, but that's not you at all.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't mean to call you. I
Yeah.
don't mean to say you look like a gym rat.
No.
douchebag.
He's like, people think that. Who told you that?
I'm just saying, if I was in the bar drinking and I seen him and he's in there just getting smashed.
I've gotten that. No, I've gotten that, and it's a human nature to look at
judge.
somebody and kind of just think that guy thinks he's so great. Let's take him down a notch.
That's the same thing with someone with me.
Yep.
And this
So
guy thinks
I like how you brought up earlier that you're like a peacemaker over a fighter, because I think for me it took me longer to realize. I think I'm also similar with that, Paul. That I'm naturally more of a peacemaker. But as I was younger, I boxed for 6 years, and
he's still not good.
And I did all right. but it was one of those things where it's like maybe I wanted to explore that side of me, but I'm not somebody that's naturally like ready wanting to go to war.
Right.
I think some people they're just born with that. We talked about that, Chris. I think you're definitely one of those people. I think you're somebody that,
Yes.
and I think that gets harnessed in a good way for you. But
Doesn't mean I'm
sees
good at
that
it. I'm
conflict
attracted
and-
to that, though.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean, like
attracted
that,
to conflict. Yep. And I'm not, but having handled more conflict, I almost feel more comfortable
I'm not
being
attracted.
a peacemaker.
I wouldn't say I'm attracted to it. I'm all right with handling it anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
That I think is more. That's not something I
Yep.
like.
You're
That's
comfortable
not,
with, or you're more
I'm
comfortable with it
it.
than the average person.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself transitioning over to verbal? Now you're dropping your gloves, you're dropping your hands, and let's talk. Let's get into it. Verbal, not. The transition can go from, I suppose, with our fists to I'm going to cut you down verbally, but then I'm going to get intellectual on you.
Yep.
You're in your 40s.
Yep.
Are you not? Are you transitioning over intellectually? Your argument cannot stand. That's kind of you, is it not?
That is where it's taken some time. I mean, it's taken some time from even like open door days. I left there. Some things were done that I wasn't fond of. I didn't appreciate. I ended up stepping away from the church. The church blessed me. The church helped me out. You were still a part of the church then. I don't know if you are there today.
Yep, we are.
And and I handled things really wrong. I lashed out, and I had to have my piece heard, you know. And the older I get, the more I realize I don't care if you know my side of the story or not. If you're just going to talk about me anyway, you're a fool. Right. So if you know my side or don't know my side, so it's
almost like a young kid throwing a punch.
Yeah.
You
just hope it lands.
Right. But no, we're growing up and we say, I don't care if these guys don't think I'm tough. I'm going to walk away from this fight.
Yep. And that's exactly what I was talking about with you, how long it took. For me, I would have to say probably in the last 2 years, like since COVID, since I've been locked down, there's a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I did a lot of soul searching, and I didn't want to be the man who I was. Same thing. I mean, that was kind of the same time we all got together. But yeah, that is it. I'm sorry, I don't want
And
this
it's
to
not,
be a turn
and
back
that's
on me.
not always seeking to prove. By the way, Paul, very good job at. He's talking about he's used to being the question asker. He did an excellent job asking
Yes.
questions.
Yeah, wait a second.
Hang on.
We've been hoodwinked.
All of a sudden, Paul's like, "Thanks for joining us for tea time. We'll see you guys next week."
What just happened?
Having Mandy Nelson
We're all
back
just
on
crying.
next week. Yeah. Paul is.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, just with like proving a point. I feel like a lot of us, our younger ego, right? We're just out to prove a point.
Find our way. Make a name for ourselves.
Yeah.
I always wanted to get into a fight. Like I was open to that, but it was more so the.
I'll beat the brakes off you right after
It was
this.
it was the
I'll
thought
teach
of
you.
like you can't be the one to start it. You know.
Yeah.
You never can be. It's just like you can't throw the first punch. You can't do it. You got to wait for them to start it, and then you're the finisher. But it's like so like. I didn't really back away, but I wouldn't egg it on. I mean, you always like, as a kid, you're kind of verbal about it. Like you're antagonizing each other. But yeah, I don't know. It never really got to that far to where someone would actually start something and then.
Did I ever tell you about my fight at Trade Home?
You did, but I don't think these guys have
This is
heard
kind
it.
of a fun one.
Here.
I've heard it. I don't think Paul has.
So I was 17, working at Trade Home, and
Your only fight outside of the ring.
no, but first one.
First one. Okay.
And and my girlfriend at the time was like walking down the hallway. I was only in there. She comes walking in, and this guy is like catcalling her, right? And so she comes in, and I'm a 17-year-old kid. I got this like, attractive girlfriend, and I'm not gonna let no guy, And so I came walking out, and I apologized to her, and then he started getting in my face, and his buddy was there as well, started getting in my face. And he starts kind of going into this like, oh, you want to do this here? You want to take this outside? And he starts taking off his big chain and his hat. He's handed it to his buddy, and then he's just kind of getting in my face like, do something, throw a punch. And so I just socked him right in the face. And we were in Trade Home, so it's right outside. Is it Herberger's or Jason? Herberger's.
And you're still on the clock.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I was the only one working at the time.
Did you sell him some shoes?
And
You should have.
That's the punchline.
and socked him in the face and turned into this huge brawl. We knock over like those security things, and I got on top of him. Then his buddy jumps on me, and I think I got the best of him 1-on-2, which feels pretty awesome.
First fight.
And he got all bloodied up, and the mall security, Mike Esplund.
Oh, no way.
Mike Esplund, yep, he's a gym member here. He comes, cuffs me, and so I'm in the back. The paramedics get called because I broke his nose, and I end up in the back of Trade Home. My boss at that time asked me to come in because it was like during a school day, but I would just skip no problem. And so my boss had me come in so he could go fishing, and he comes back to that. And so anyway, so there was nobody else working. I'm in the back cuff talking with Mike, and Mike was super cool. He's like, hey, man, I got to cuff you right now, but I get it. It's cool. And so everything kind of clears out finally after like an hour. And I remember old lady came in, and I'm fitting her in some nice New Balance.
The 10-12.
Old lady.
The 10-12s, yep. Nice. And she was like, I heard there was some ruckus happening down here. And I look at my shirt, and there's some like blood on my shirt. And I'm like, yeah, a couple of young kids, I think, got into a fight. And
You just have a bloody nose and a black eye. You're like, what?
Who was that?
A fight? Is that how you say it?
But yeah, didn't get fired, actually. That was pretty cool.
Nice, dude.
So going through that prepared you for the next fight.
Yeah, I guess other than that, I just had kind of like a bar brawl that was kind of protecting. I go to that story quick. My sister-in-law ended up.
It's always a woman. It's always a freaking woman with this guy.
2 for 2.
So we were at a bar, and there's this guy that me and my wife, sister-in-law, that don't really get along with him, and he was at the bar with his pregnant girlfriend at the time, and they left, and they ended up on some sort of like, I think it was like on Facebook, some post back and forth, and they were kind of antagonizing each other. And we're standing at the bar, and all of a sudden she looks up, and he's juiced up on roids to the max. Absolutely is very, very open about it. Directly in front of her, all of a sudden he just like comes up, and he's like right in her face, and she just like looks up from her phone, and she just smacked him in the face like 6 times, and he just like nothing, just went right off him.
He's like, I do steroids. Did you hear that, everyone? I'm open about this.
Yeah, and it just turned into this brawl, and I think he hit or pushed like her husband, and I just bear hugged the dude. I don't even know if he called much of a fight. I just bear hugged the dude, and he just headbutted terrible idea. I'm just trying to pull him out, so I'm just bear hugging him, pulling him out. He just headbutted the living crap out of me.
Broke your nose?
Messed it up, which sucked because I had just gotten done with nose surgery.
How many times has that nose been broke?
Oh, many times. I had just gotten it fixed because it was incredibly broken from years of boxing.
It's a nice nose.
Thank you.
That's a good
Thank
nose.
you.
It's a Romanesque.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was the kicker on it because I had just gotten it fixed from a lot of damage with boxing, so they had to straighten everything out because I kept on getting deviated septums. No matter what, kept on getting it because of all.
And then you got that surgery done, right? Where we started using code.
What?
Huh?
You talking about cocaine?
No, not cocaine.
He's like, yeah, I got
codeine.
bigger
You got
nostrils.
that codeine.
Oh, codeine.
The freaking codeine, not
I had an
cocaine.
issue with codeine, man. That was codeine. Yeah. I don't know. No, that was something else.
Oh, that
I
was
remember
your
that.
thumb.
Well, it might have been. I had nose surgeries a couple times to try to fix that crap. So.
All right, sorry.
Yeah.
So no
Anyways.
fights, and you had 3
Nothing.
brothers, and you just Did you fight with them ever?
Oh yeah, we fought. I mean, but to launch a fist into someone's face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every once in a while, won't you guys hear about in the news someone throws a punch, hits a guy, kills him?
Mm-hmm.
And I
I
always
was in prison with actually 2 guys that did that.
regular
Regular
guys.
Regular guys.
Regular
it was
guys.
a regular fight. They were young kids too, younger kids, and threw a punch, and dude fell back and hit the curb. Didn't
Hands of
wake
stone.
up.
Yeah,
He got out. He gave him 10 years.
whoa.
He was doing.
So that was always in the back of my head, and I don't know if I just didn't have the courage to do it, or if I was the smartest guy in the room not to do it. Maybe I'm somewhere in between, and I'll take it.
Yep.
I'll take it. But to know, I can think of the value of knowing a fight is about to happen. There is value there. Yeah. Like knowing, all right, this guy, because how do you win a fight? You punch first and you punch hard. That's in essence how you win a fight, right?
Or be able to take a punch.
Or take a punch, right? But the element of surprise from what I know about fighters, that's a big advantage.
Yeah. Yeah,
To know that
when you're talking actual street fight, not the gloves on, yeah, for sure.
or somebody's mouthing you off in the bar, and there's you can just taste it in the air that a fight might happen. Boom, hit him. And I'm kind of naive. I don't know. It's never been in my bones. I don't know why. Good. But 46 years, I think I'm okay. Even though, you go to a professional football game or something crazy like that, it might happen again in my life. Where you might have to have those instincts to say, let's leave.
Yep.
Let's get out of here.
A lot of people don't have those instincts, though. And I think that's probably what separates you from other people, is that other people are just like, let's stick around and see what goes on. And then your wife gets hit.
Right.
Well, then now what? You got to defend your wife. And so it's, a lot of people do not have that common sense to, this is probably a good time that we should depart.
Even though I
Your
can't
wisdom.
help but think of a story. Let me backtrack a little bit. I was 29, 28, 27 at O'Neill's late night, and there was a guy there who will remain nameless, was really being a jackass, and I noticed him early in the night, kind of forgot about him. Well, 10 beers later, I see him again. And
You or him 10 beers later?
Probably both of us.
Nice.
And he bumped into a couple of my buddies and knocked him down in a bar. But this is Old O'Neill's, right? You guys know about Old O'Neill's? Rougher.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I've heard. I don't know,
Okay.
though. Yeah.
Lights are down.
Okay.
Yep.
Smoking.
Yep.
I mean, just everything. It was just rougher. And he bumped into a bunch of people, and I came up alongside of him, and I said, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" And I grabbed him by the back of the elbow. Or did he grab me? You know what? I don't know.
Somebody got grabbed.
And he took his drink and smashed it upside my head, and it was on.
Was that a plastic cup?
Nope. No,
Glass cup?
It was a glass cup, and I had thought he had really hurt me.
Yep.
But because I couldn't see out of this eye, but it was all liquid.
Blood.
Everything was liquid,
Yeah,
but it was just a little bit of my blood, but it wasn't in my eye. And I never got any punches. I couldn't throw any because I was trying to keep him away from, because he was throwing punches, and I was just trying to keep him away. And my buddies, I think one of them was my brother, kind of took care of him.
I was gonna say your brothers are some scrappers, though.
They're scrappers,
right? Them boys, they got a name around, and,
Yeah.
and they're known for being able to defend themselves.
Ben, do you know my brothers?
Peter a little bit.
Peter a little bit. There's Joe a little bit. So I'm the oldest boy of 4 boys, but we have an older
Peter and
sister.
Joe.
We have an older sister, 48-year-old sister, and I'm 46, and goes down to all the way to 36. My youngest brother lives in Mankato now, 36, and not a scrapper.
Okay.
He's more of a lover, like his eldest brother.
So Peter's the scrapper.
Pete's the scrapper, and then Joe he's been in some scraps as well.
Yep.
So yeah.
Big shout out to you two. Man, it's been a while since I've seen you guys. They hit me up sometimes on Facebook. They'll like one of my posts or like hard post or something like that. And it's just like, yeah, I wish I got to see those guys.
So your posts, you put them out there. You put yourself out there.
Yeah. I don't really hide
No
who
regrets.
I am, what I'm about. Yeah.
99 out of 100 posts, you stand tall and say, "Yep,
Yep.
This
And
is-
and every 100 post, I'll either take down or I'll view it as, this probably wasn't the best.
Push
post to
misstep
put out.
every now and then.
Sure,
Yep.
sure.
Well, the same thing is going to be true with
I
this
think
podcast.
overstep, not so much misstep, but overstep where my opinion needs to be
right."
on Facebook or something like that. So
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, but if you're not running the risk of being offensive, I'm taking this right from Jordan Peterson. Do you guys know Jordan?
yeah.
Jordan has said something like, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're not at least running the risk of being offensive, you're probably not very effective.
Yeah.
So if you're not, I mean, if you're staying a mile away from that line that is, let's call the offensive line, yeah, you're probably not being effective. And the more I chew on that, the more I like it.
I think it was Eminem who said, so you stood, or you got enemies, good, that means you stood for something.
Yeah.
You know, because you're going to offend people. It is those who I think keep trying not to offend people that get offended all the time. They're always offended about something. So either you're the one doing the offending, or people are just getting offended. And that's just seems how today is. And if you don't stand for something, I mean,
Now
you're
more
just
than
gonna-
ever. Yeah.
you're just gonna go with the wind. You're gonna go along with the crowd and not against anything.
I think although it's very important to stand for something, I don't know that that's something that we're necessarily that short of in our society right now. I think we're short of lack of open minds, right? Because if you're standing for the wrong thing, that doesn't necessarily help, or something that you might perceive to be right, but you haven't taken the time to really try to understand what it is.
Or let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, yeah, I mean, kind of like you pushed us.
We find a hill really quick sometimes. Like we hear something and we're very I'll say myself. Sometimes it feels like this. You need to. What is your opinion about this thing? Very quickly, and we kind of sometimes we might rush that. We might rush that. We might had we been a little bit more open minded, we might have had a different opinion on that. And once we pick one, then we make a post about it or we comment on or something about it. Now it's really hard to go back. Now it's really hard to say something in a large public platform that's opposite of what you just said because we're so afraid of being a hypocrite. Yeah. And because hypocrites get called out.
Yeah.
Right?
And then they got to defend.
Yeah.
For me, it was that's why I was very on the Floyd.
Mayweather?
No,
I know.
George Floyd.
George Floyd.
Thank you.
On that case, and there was a lot of pastors and stuff jumping out there to put their comments and opinions. And for me, I just kind of sat back, like, all right, there's more to this than what we believe there is. One, so I'm not going to you don't start picking sides until things start to get figured out, and not that you even have to pick sides. And so I don't, like, when a lot of those kind of big things happen, I save my comments off of Facebook just because it's not everyone else's views or understanding of the situation, because people, they will look so much not at the truth, but more just at the perceived truth. Mm-hmm. And that becomes truth.
And also the platform really isn't good to have that back and forth. If you say something, but you're not necessarily immovable on it, right? But it's a thought that you're having. It's easy for somebody to read that, and it almost looks like it's written. And when it's written, it almost looks like an immovable opinion. It looks like, okay, that's how he feels about that. Yep. Right? And things like this.
That's good.
Good conversations and just platforms like this, I think, are a much better way to have these more complicated, nuanced discussions.
Sure. You're not even on Facebook, really.
I'm really not. No,
all.
I don't really. How about you, Ben? Are you on Facebook?
Pretty much just Facebook. I don't really have any other social media thing that I use much at all.
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't do Instagram. I kind of plead the old man. I'm just kind of a.
It's a better life.
It's a good place to be.
You know, I'm on the sidelines, but at times you're like, boy, would a responsible thing be to get in the game, so to speak, get in the game with digitally and let people know where you stand, because most people are sheep. Okay. Most of us are sheep, and it might help some of those people to say, all right, this guy feels like this. I've been sort of feeling like that. Sure. And now now I know where to stand because this guy and this guy said it.
Don't stay off of it.
Okay, so that's your advice to me.
Regardless of how you feel and what your stand is, somebody's going to come against you because they're just going to come against you.
Right.
And you start second guessing yourself, doubting yourself, and then it becomes like an identity thing. Like, oh man, am I this and that?
So you've gone through this.
I have.
And I
have.
You've come out the other side.
I have better. And learned that this is not real life. This is Facebook. Right. You know that if people get pissed at me because they automatically put a tone to my voice when they hear my voice, when they read stuff, and it's just like, no. So you can't put a tone or a face to what's being written, so people see either you genuinely care or there's a heart behind this or something. They're just like, wow, this dude's a dick.
And it's either you're typing something, or the more other thing is you're throwing up a camera and you're giving some sort of speech, which sometimes isn't the right way to go about it either. That's why I like doing things like this more, because if somebody wants to understand Paul and you want to add some value that somebody's going to take away to the world, a format where you can talk for a couple hours about things and
let
have
things
back
breathe
and forth, rather than either A, writing something out, or B, throwing a phone up and trying to be in a little bit more like teacher mode.
Yeah.
Right. Something like this a little bit more natural. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of with Chris. I'm like, if I was in your shoes, I probably wouldn't go down the direction, because I think you probably make way more impact, like person to person,
right?
Way more impact than you're ever going to on Facebook.
Yeah, it almost makes me think of introvert, extrovert. I don't know how you guys rubber stamp yourself, maybe somewhere in between of introvert and extrovert, but
I'm definitely an introvert.
Right, I am an introvert too, and people say, no, I've met you. I know you're not. You're a salesman. You're outgoing with people, but I said, and I'll say, okay, yep, but I'm strongest one-on-one. I'm most comfortable. I'm the best of me one-on-one versus large groups of people. I mean, how do you recharge your batteries also? There's certain tests to say, are you introvert, extrovert? And I don't like rubber stamp. I don't like to put people in a box. But when the subject comes up and we start to talk about it with people, I'll say introvert. I charge my batteries with fewer people versus lots of people.
Do you charge your batteries alone, or just fewer people does it for you?
The fewer the better. Usually alone, but maybe with my wife, maybe.
Not even my wife. My kids, my wife, all that needs to be gone. I need myself. It's
alone.
Because I deal with people all day. You deal with people all day long.
Right.
And talking and asking questions and this and that. And so I could see where you're just like, man, I need to get the voices out. I need to be alone for a little bit. I do this for a living. And I just either need to just be with my wife and kids, or I just need to be by myself, because it becomes a lot. When I don't have to be, I don't want to be around a bunch of people. That's just not my gig. I don't get excited by that anymore.
So when you're voicing your opinion, do you do it out of you or the church, or
it's my opinion?
It's your opinion.
Yep.
And do you feel the pressure to give your opinion? Where does Chris stand on this? Do you think do you have an audience of people?
As a pastor, do you feel an extra pressure, a different pressure?
People don't give a damn what my opinion is. I don't think. They don't. They
Welcome back, Zach.
They just want their opinion to be heard. I don't think people don't care the pastor's opinion. The pastor is the
So when you say people, who are we talking about?
I would say most of like congregations, Christians, those who belong in the faith, they got needs. They need them met, and that's the pastor's job.
So
am I wrong? I mean, when we think of that, like someone passed away, it's pastor's job. Someone got married, needs to get married, pastor. Someone needs counseling, pastor. What book should I read? Go to the pastor.
Also counselor.
Somebody. That's what I'm saying. For counseling, it's pastor. All right, now you got to show up because someone's in the hospital, and now I got to hold a dying woman's hand and try and talk to her as she's getting ready to leave this world. I mean, it's just, that is the pastor's job. Everyone just thinks that's our jobs.
Right.
And that alone makes me want to just run back to my house and not leave. Because it's not that I just deal with little things here and there and there. Like, I deal with some serious, intense things that is just like, they're not small stuff. This is like eternal things. It's wearing. Right. I don't want to be around anyone. Like, I go home and at night I have to sort out my thoughts in my head.
Untangle them.
Did this freaking seriously happen? Is this happening? Is this happening? Yeah, because I'm wrapped up into everybody's worst moments of their life because I'm supposed to give them spiritual counseling. It's
Exhausting.
yeah.
And what I was
sorry, that was a heck of a tangent.
right, and
Go
that
ahead.
used to be the bulk of a pastor's job, is to be there during tough times. You know, you got your Sunday mornings. You know.
Oh, and
put
write
on-
a message.
put
And
on
it
your-
better be good, because
better-
if not, I'm going to email you about it, about how it sucked, and give you 5 points that it could have been better.
Do you get those?
Okay, that's the next podcast. But we live in a day and age where we have all these subjects getting thrown around,
Yep.
and people are looking for somebody
Oh,
Who's got
that's
the
what we were
answer?
talking about. I'm sorry, my opinions.
who's got the answer. And oftentimes, is it your local pastor? And if it's not the local pastor, they're going to get their opinion from somewhere else. News media.
CNN or Fox.
CNN, Fox, maybe they have a pastor they listen to, John MacArthur,
Yep.
or somewhere else. And I didn't know if you felt the pressure of, all right, I can't be on the sidelines about this. Transgender, hot topic lately. Dave Chappelle, hot topic lately. Do you feel the pressure to voice your opinion? But a few minutes ago, you did say there are some subjects where I'm just going to push back and say,
Sure.
That
is when it comes to what people believe biblically and in the Bible. Like, they're going to believe what they believe, regardless if I teach them or not. I try to teach them, they don't listen. Those kind of subjects I will not push back about. I'll let it be known who I am. I am not for same-sex marriage. I am not for abortion. I am not for transgender and the LGBTQ community. I am not for cute messages. I am not for entertainment at the pulpit and things like that. So I have no problems telling people that. However, every one of those people that I mentioned needs their butt to be in church, because just like me, I'm a sinner, and so are they. So they need help.
They need love.
They need love as
They
well.
need love. Yeah.
And so I will tell my opinion. Most people, I don't think, care because they just want their opinions heard. And so I keep it to myself a lot. People don't go to a pastor because they're just so full. Please tell me what. And if they do, they usually don't do it anyway.
They want validation of their
They just want validation of their crap that they're living in. I've had someone ask me to pray for him and his girlfriend that are living together. I'm not going to God for that crap, bro. Not at all. No. I'm going to stand in front of an almighty, holy God. Exactly. It's that kind of crap. It's like, no, I'm not going to God for that. And it's, like I said, they don't want to hear my opinions. They just want me to validate theirs. That's all it is. And I don't. So my opinions on stuff, I think I'm very vocal, conservative. I'm a
racist, it sounds like.
Racist?
Conservatism and racism.
I'm very racist.
They're synonymous.
Yes, pedophile.
I'm making a joke. I'm making a joke.
All of these things.
He said it.
No, I said I'm conservative, not.
Just cut that, Zach. And racist pedophile.
You guys will hear that other part on the. I said I'm conservative though, not liberal.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. We'll cut that out.
So
No, we won't. No, we won't.
So do you cut things out of this?
We have not.
Okay.
If it doesn't, if it's not cohesive with what we believe, we just cut it out.
We so far
a
we've tried. Yeah. Sorry, that went right over my head. But we haven't really. So we have the 2 ones that we've released now, and I don't think we've made any cuts throughout it. But I think the overall idea is, if there's something, we're talking such open format. So if you had something where you're like, I said that, but later I got a chance to listen to it, and you're like, I don't really. It sounded right at the time, but I don't really agree with that.
Yeah.
It's not something that I want to stand behind.
Right.
Totally. We'll cut that out. But in general, I think most people, if you're going to take the time and listen to a couple hours, you can put the whole thing together. And we say something stupid like, I'm a pedophile, right? Yeah. You're obviously messing around.
Yes.
And I would hope that most people could put that together.
Yeah, and it's and there is things that we'll say that we will be like, I don't really know how I feel about that. I don't think I should have said that.
it,
But it's
I-
having the comfort and to say, you know what, maybe that's not right. So if there is something.
No,
whatever.
this is
But this has been good. It's been real good.
I always hate when Zach has to jump out to help somebody.
I
What
can
were
tell you-
Cass was here today.
I
Like
could
it's
tell.
like
So I just talked to Hannah, and she said, she's like, I'm free 1 to 3. She's like, I'll do it. And that's that girl I'm training.
yes. All right, let's make that happen.
Yep, I'm
cool.
going to. Yeah.
What makes somebody a candidate? Are these candidates over here on the whiteboard?
They are.
Yes.
I see I'm number 2. What would it take to be number?
Well,
So-
you would have
One.
been number 1 if you wouldn't have gotten COVID.
Or was it your birthday party?
Birthday,
It was.
right.
All
Yep,
right.
yep.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not really in any particular list, but what we're just trying to do is is think of it from the perspective of like who would be fun for us, who would be interesting for us.
And yeah, definitely people who aren't going to think. I mean, because it's kind of like an echo chamber with the 3 of us. We agree on a lot, not everything, but enough to where it gets repetitive. So it'd be nice to bring some people with some outside perspectives.
Right. Somebody just say, have you considered this?
I really want to bring on. I've got a friend that is more liberal in his politics, and on COVID and vaccines, he's got some different thoughts that I do. And I really want to get him on because I want to, in a very open conversation, I want to talk about those things. I actually want to is there any holes in what I believe? Where am I off on it? Because I'm probably got a little bit too much bias towards certain things, and I want to hear the opposing view.
Yeah, you say that, but then it happens and your little heart starts to race and the beads of sweat start coming out. But that's one of the reasons why we stay away from conversation. Certain conversations with certain people is, one, you're never there. Almost like this fighting stuff that we were talking about 10 minutes ago. You're nervous around it, and it's time. There can be times to be like, all right, this is almost like boxing a little bit. You put the pads on, you put the headgear on, and you see what you've got without really hurting each other, without really hurting.
Yeah.
But you're still sparring. Right. You're still showing the best of you into the ring. I'm jumping back and forth between my metaphors here a little bit. But that's what I see this as being a ring, getting somebody that doesn't agree with you, and letting it go.
Yeah, let's rough each other up a little bit, but in a friendly competition or a friendly sort of format. That's not an actual fight. We're not trying to hurt that person, right?
Right.
But and also at the same time, so that was an interesting metaphor. I see this as conversations like this almost like a dance, right? There's flow and there's comfortability and there's spots where somebody might kind of drop it and somebody else picks it up. Right. And there's art to it. I see a lot of this and that's a big part on why I wanted to do this is finding different creative outlets, different ways to feed my creative side in a way that just fits with me. Cause I'm not a painter. I like to draw, but I'm not a painter. Can't sing. And this is a way to do that.
And cupcakes. Cupcakes are also good to help you think.
Didn't you bring in cupcakes and I busted your chops once to snap?
We got a lot of junk food over here.
Donuts and outside.
Yeah.
Taco John's, McDonald's.
You were having a grand opening.
If you're
at your
hoping
wife's.
to, oh yeah, yep.
And I'm like, dude, really? People are. This is. You might as well hand out Playboys at church.
Sure.
I mean, people are struggling with this, and they come to the gym.
That would get them in there.
Is Playboy made anymore?
I hear that they no longer have nudity. I mean, I just hear that. I don't know. But yeah, I hear that they no longer do fully nude or anything like that. It's just lingerie and very good articles.
I heard they walked that back though. I think they did it and it didn't work and they walked it back. Does somebody want to Google? Do we got here? Pull it up.
Does Playboy still exist?
I mean, these are almost boobs we're looking at here.
They are.
That's true.
Dude, I don't want that crap on my phone. My wife won't find it.
You're the one to do it. I was kidding.
Go to the private setting.
If my wife looks at my stuff, I'm doing it here.
Just go to their homepage or something.
Yeah, I'd heard that. But didn't they have a transgender person on the cover?
Just
I think Dave Rubin. Do you guys know Dave Rubin?
No, I don't.
Ever listen to Dave?
I don't know him that well, but I've seen a few of like his podcasts.
Dave is a podcast guy.
He's gay, right?
He's gay,
Yeah.
married to a man, used to be on the Young Turks, used to be uber lefty.
Yeah.
And now he's an uber righty,
Yep.
really. And
is this?
Dave
Rubin. He's got his own podcast. He's been doing it for nationally. Well, he went on tour with Jordan Peterson for a year and a half. And he had Larry Elders on his show. And what really, that's one of the moments, I don't know if you've seen that episode, he talked about systemic racism. The subject was racism and systemic racism, and Larry Elders, who just lost the gubernatorial race in California,
Oh, okay, yeah.
black conservative guy, about 67, 66, said, give me some examples of systemic racism. And Dave didn't have anything. So he said, no, really, let's talk about them. Couldn't come up with any. So Dave Rubin, we'll talk about Dave Rubin more. He's an interesting cat. What'd you find out, Chris?
Interesting.
You got a thing on that, Zach. The systemic racism, we were talking about that this morning. Anyways, go ahead, Chris.
It says Playboy brings back nudity, saying its removal was a mistake. BBC News. USA Today, Playboy brings nudity back to magazine. Forbes, Playboy is naked again. And
I bet
it
if
is
anything,
awesome.
that was like their last publicity stunt to try to stay relevant. You know, it's because they were like, all right, we're going to try out this lingerie thing. If it doesn't work, now we can make this big announcement. We're bringing boobs back.
I wonder why they left it. Respecting women.
No, my money would say is like the porn industry has
I don't
just
think
changed
it's
since. You know, back in the day, they could sell a ton of these magazines, and now people are on like a handful of like porn sites and like OnlyFans and things like that. The porn industry is just different, and I imagine they're not crushing it like they were, and they're probably just living on these 67-year-old dudes that have been buying them their whole life.
That's right. The
And-
subscription just keeps coming.
Yeah,
They put them in
and-
the...
Yeah, so it was probably a last-ditch effort to stay relevant. And yeah.
Hugh has been dead for 5 years? 4, 3, 2? Hefner?
Yeah, I have no idea.
At least 5, hasn't it been?
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, it's been some time.
What's the joke they say is like the only guy when he dies, he's not going to a better place.
We're not supposed to judge his soul, are we?
Hugh Hefner.
Actually, I didn't mean it in that way. I meant it in the, like, because
There's not going to
He-
be
Oh,
so many
there that he
beautiful
gets to
women
sleep
on
with.
Earth. Yeah.
My bad.
Yep.
Right over my head.
I
Yep.
could see that going the other way too. All right, Zach, what were we talking about this morning?
Are you supposed to be at work?
I'm working right now. Salesmen are always working. You're always working.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said we'd probably have taken up more than an hour of
trying
your
to-
time.
What was the goal? Hour? 2 hours?
There really is no.
There's
it's kinda
never,
just
there's
wide
never
open.
really a goal, but I just thought that, man, just because that's our plane doesn't mean you don't got to be
That's
back
very
to
true.
work.
Are you
So-
guys the best of yourself on a podcast, do you think, right after lunch? When's the witty? When's not
10 a.m. I'm the best.
coffee?
Yep. Just
midnight?
I'm just full of like
midnight?
rigor for the day, man.
Zach?
It's like noon.
Noon.
Yeah. So
The
you're pretty
best of
close to
you.
your-
Yeah.
Okay. I was just, on my drive in, I'm just thinking about a million different things.
When are you
about-
best?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I feel like you're somebody that's just on it so often that it's
No.
harder to find the peak.
No, that's part of the salesman's
The allure.
The
Yeah.
allure.
Fake it till you make it.
You're right. Maybe mid morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like 10 o'clock. We used to have, all the salesmen used to get together at 10 o'clock at Rambo, and everyone else gets the breaks, we're taking our break too.
Yeah.
You know, those salesmen are coming and going whenever
Right,
they want.
yeah.
But it was good.
Salesman.
And I noticed something about myself, to answer your question, 10 o'clock. I like that.
So what does your day typically look like as a salesman at Rambo? Because you just said the other day you were
Yeah.
talking to somebody across the country. I didn't even realize, are most of your clients national?
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Do you have time?
I do have time, yep.
You do.
I do.
Because I don't want to, and I don't mean to keep cutting you off. I just want to make sure that you're okay.
No,
and
I appreciate it.
At least 15, 20 minutes left in you.
Yep. My day looks like drop the kids off in the morning. Well, I'll sleep in as late as I can just to get the kids off to school. Drop the kids off, go home and shower.
Which is what time? How late to get sleep?
7:30. Nice. I mean, a lot of people think 6:30. Don't really successful people get up early in the morning?
5 a.m. It's
A
the
lot
5
do.
a.m.
The earlier you get up,
Yep.
who's Extreme Ownership?
Jocko Willink.
Jocko Willink. It's
He's
up at
4 a.m.
4 a.m.
Yeah.
He's a Navy SEAL, isn't he?
Yep.
He's like a Navy SEAL commander.
He
So
posts his workout like every single morning with his watch at like 4:30 a.m. Just got done with a crushing workout.
Extreme Ownership.
Yep.
I can get behind that. We'll talk Jocko.
Yeah.
Because he's got his own podcast.
I've not listened to it, but I've heard him on several different
He's
podcasts.
been on Rogan.
Yep.
He's been on Ruben. He's been around. But no, sleep in as long as I can, bring the kids, shower, to work by 8:45. And then we are so busy right now. It's absolutely nuts how busy we are. Wow. And getting product is a problem. So it takes up a chunk of our time just finding plan Bs, plan Cs.
What's your take on the supply chain issue? Do you have any more in-depth knowledge on that? I was talking with somebody this weekend at a Halloween party, and so Superman and like a Boy Scout are having this conversation about. I was Superman, and
Of course,
he owns a a furniture company that they sell mass amount of furnitures to like hotels and stuff. Sure, and he was talking about the supply chain issue, and so I'm like, okay, I don't know anybody that actually really understands this, because he actually is the shipping containers, is very involved in where it's at, and this thing needs to hurry up, and then this truck is going to pick it up, and he's very involved in the situation,
stuff, isn't it? It's the whole reason why stuff is out there. Things can't come into port and stuff is because of.
But in what way is
orders?
it COVID stuff is part of the question, because just COVID is a very
Do they
vague
need to
way
come
to put it.
over here and then like for a week they got to sit and they can't?
They do, and here's why. In his point, he basically said, he's like, it's not one issue, it's a multiple variables that all came together, mostly triggered by COVID, but not all. The first one's like California, the regulations. A couple years ago, they created new regulations that said if you want to have a truck come in and pick something up from California, it needs to be newer than 2011, has to have such and such mileage, and a lot of very specific things. And they also said you cannot be an independent contractor, you have to be an employee trucker, which a lot of truckers are independent contractors. Okay. So that alone, he said, that alone presents a challenge, especially since California is what's closest to Asia, right? If you want to go the other side of the United States to drop it off, you have to go through the Panama Canal. It gets significantly more expensive. They have ports in Washington, but I think there's some other issues there as well. But in California, that's the thing, and so there's way less people coming in. He said when COVID happened, and all these trucking companies assumed everything was going to stop, so they laid everybody off, and a lot of these truck drivers couldn't pass a drug test when they came back, and now we're not allowed to work. They failed a drug test, can't get your CDL, got to change careers. I think that's how that was. And so it's a couple different things like that, and just a combination of everything. But it gave me a lot of hope that it's moving in the right direction. There's also things like this, is typically these containers are going back and forth. So you're dropping them off in California, you're filling it up, and now you're sending that stuff like back to Asia. But if Asia's not buying something, you're waiting to fill these up until you can send it back. And while you're waiting, you're short on containers. People are having trouble getting them. You're wasting space. You have empty containers sitting there, which is why Biden put that law that fine into effect. Have you heard of that?
No.
So this is actually an interesting thing, because I went to this guy, and he said he's politically, he's center right. I'm probably center right as well. But as we were talking about this, I had heard about this Biden's fining ships for leaving for not what I was led to believe for their containers being on the ship and not unloading, right? And they're getting fined a big daily fee for just sitting out there. But in reality, what he was fining them for is not getting them unloaded and back out. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so it was slowing up the process. So it's a complicated thing, and yeah, it was kind of interesting to get into the nuance of it. Sorry to cut off, though.
No,
let's go back to your day.
Oh, my day. No, that's
Yeah.
it. That's. Yeah. I mean, then it's freedom. I mean, you probably all know salesmen, and you're like, what do they do? How do they make money? What's the deal with them? I see them golfing, or
You get to make your own, but what you're doing is building and keeping your clientele base.
Mm-hmm. Makes you more interesting. A line that my boss will say, John Rambo's my boss, not the John Rambo. John Rambo's my boss, and he'll say, whenever we're playing hooky, golfing or doing this
Podcast,
or whatever,
yeah.
He'll say, makes you more interesting. Interesting people like to buy from interesting people. If you're just a salesman and people don't know anything about you, like you've got no habits,
Yep.
extracurricular activities, good habits, whatever, people, it's just, you've got less friends. A lot of our customers are our social networks.
Yeah.
People that we hang out with, and those people we hang out with have friends that work at companies, that work at schools. So
the more interesting you are.
And
the better salesman.
what makes an interesting person?
Well, you drink Dos Equis for sure.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
He's good. Does that guy have a name? That
They just call him the salesman.
The Dos Equis guy.
the old guy, the 72-year-old,
Good looking.
just
Older
sharp.
man. Yeah, just traveling the world.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Is that
I
actually
like to
what he
think-
did? Is that why
I don't
that
know.
became the slogan thing? Or did this dude just get lucky? They're like, we need a guy to do a Secchi's commercial. Now you're the most interesting man in the world.
I think it was that, and I think they needed someone who was like aged because
Right.
then you've lived a life of
Yep.
interest.
They stumbled upon it somehow. There would be it'd be nice to know the story of how they found that guy out.
Right.
Or someone thought of it, right?
He seems like he'd be related to the Men's Warehouse guy. You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it. Right?
Yeah,
I don't know if I remember that. What?
Dos Equis. Stay
Part of me is wondering if that's the same person because I think I remember thinking that.
I don't think it
I
is.
do kind of remember that guy.
Because that would be the most interesting man in the world kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
That's my day. And then you're home. Then it's family.
Sweet.
You get home at about 5:30.
A lot of your clients national? Or are there a lot of like regional?
Mostly Minnesota. Would
Minnesota,
you call that
okay.
regional?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've got a customer in Knoxville, Tennessee that they're my top customer. And I'm out there 3 times a year for a full week. I'm in contact with them maybe not every day, every week for sure. And so that takes a lot of time. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's got to be kind of a cool relationship to have. What industry are they in?
They build airplanes. So Cirrus Aircraft. They build them in Duluth and Grand Forks. They deliver them in Knoxville.
So what's their demand for clothing?
They have
Uniforms and stuff.
Well, yeah, I get that, but that must be a really big company. if it's
Huge shirts
uniforms
go over
there.
planes.
Well, the swag that people love to wear T-shirts that say Cirrus Aircraft, and you belong. Human beings are tribal, right? We want to belong to something bigger than us. And wearing a jacket that says
Top Gun.
Adidas, I'm part of Adidas. I'm part of something, right? They identify with its swag. People love a cool jacket with a cool logo on it, and when you have Cirrus on it, we're the only Cirrus suppliers, I think, in the nation. So there's limited jackets that people can get, and
And that makes it more desirable too if it's limited.
yeah, I
One
think
of the
so.
few,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So, I know this is kind of putting you on the spot. I think this is something we should start doing. I think this would be good. What is one piece of advice that you would leave with us that has changed your world, changed your life? What is one thing that you think could change somebody else's?
Do you want to ask a couple questions to us and get in your comfort zone?
That's good.
What exactly do you mean, and how much do you mean? I don't know. What is this?
Well, maybe that's what I do to bring the best out of myself, huh?
He said,
It's not gutsy. My dad is often talking about how I've started running today, right? He's starting something. And I'll say to him, I thought you started that last year. Or I thought you started that last week or 10 years ago. And I don't know if he came up with it or if I came up with it, but as long as you're starting, that's a form of not quitting. So whatever you want to do, we're all going to, add it to the list of failures, right? All of us have a list of failures. You want to start something new, and part of you says, yeah, that sounds good. I love it. But then part of you says, well, I could add it to the list of failures. Because whatever the subject at hand is, something that you want might be difficult to get. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is start.
Amen.
Start. Just start, and you're going to quit. But you know what? You can start again. and then you can start again, and then you can start again. I mean, everything from praying with your kids at night, right, to what us Christians are commanded to do, read the Bible. I'm going to fail at that constantly, or being a better husband or business owner, but keep starting. Just keep starting. Keep starting. And that's a form of not quitting. I mean, it doesn't really roll off the tongue. It's not really smooth.
I like that though.
That is the best I've ever heard. It's actually more of a unique thing that I've ever heard as advice, because it's often don't be afraid to fail. But keep starting is almost a better way to look at that. It's the same thing.
Well,
it's the same thing, but
maybe
it's
just
more
branding.
Of an actionable way to look at that.
It's like a more positive way.
It is always how things are said.
Right. Because, for example, I was talking with my, I have a coach that I talk with every couple of weeks, and I was talking
life
about
coach, kind of a life business
mindset.
Sure.
I'm not really sure.
Keep going.
And I was talking about things that I want to do to improve my connection with my family. And I was like, all right, I know that I just spend too much, and it's always gotten better for sure, but I spend time on my phone that I could be engaged with my kids, my wife, and it's just this stupid little scrolling addiction, and even like an hour a night, that's too much. That really is. That's more than I want. And so I was trying to write down what I wanted that to be. And so I was like, okay, less time on phone or something like that. And he's like, he's like, I would word that 100% connected with your family more often. Right?
You wanted something more concrete.
Not what you're taking away.
Oh.
You think about no phone.
Oh, sure.
Yep, no phone, less phone. That's what I'm doing, less phone. You're just thinking about your phone. But if you're thinking about connecting with your family, right? And so the same thing, tying that what you were saying, if you're thinking about, okay, not afraid to fail, not going to fail. How about just thinking about trying? I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I'm going to start this. I'm going to get going on this. Obviously, that includes not failing, but to think of it in the way of more how to start is
keep
really
starting.
impactful.
Yeah.
I love it.
So the question was, leave us with something.
Yep.
Because this can be part of the brand of this is
Just start. Keep
just
starting.
start. Right. But what was your question? Say your question again so it becomes more concrete.
What is one piece of life advice that you would leave with us?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I like that. So that's something we could do with guests.
Yeah. At the end.
I like that.
You want to spring it on them, but as people listen to this, they're going to know it and they're going to come prepared.
Yep.
Which is good,
Yeah.
but bad at the same time. A little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
You don't want to rehearse.
I think to have one question that they're ready, they have an idea that's coming, probably isn't a bad thing. It's very obvious that this is not a scripted, rehearsed podcast by any means.
Yeah. And another way to say it might be, what are you winning? What are you winning at?
Yeah.
What are you winning at? What is something, or you're lapping the field on? What is something our culture is doing that you're doing a little better? Kind of questions like this.
Yeah.
I was thinking about on my drive in from
Yeah.
Spicer. I thought, what are they going to ask me here? What are we going to do? So I'll piggyback on your.
Yes.
On
This
your
was
back.
a lot of fun, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
I was on a podcast one other time at the radio station with Greg Snow, Todd Burgeth, Sean Bolson, and talked golf, sports.
Yeah.
So I'm a sports guy.
Mm-hmm.
You and your family
Really?
are golf guys too.
We kind of transitioned. We didn't golf in high school and college, but we played at Valley. We memberships were $30 a year, $30 a year for a kid, and then every time you showed up, you brought $1. Play all day. So, and then we played at the junior high, just drop balls and hit them. Can you imagine seeing someone hitting golf balls over at the junior high right now?
Yeah.
I don't know if it would go over. We're just more sensitive nowadays.
Well, I always see your brother posting great pictures of him golfing. And
Oh, he's
are you
so
the one
good.
that's not? Are you not that good? Is that why you don't post a lot of pictures? I think
Well, I don't-
just saw a picture of you actually golfing.
Okay.
But your brother, does he have like a photographer that follows him around and takes
Himself.
pictures of him?
He takes selfies
just-
or lonelies. Someone I heard that the other day.
Selfies, lonelies. They're lonelies.
He's got a drone that just follows him as he's golfing.
Right? No,
With music.
he's had a great year of golf. Pete has had a great year of golf. His best year of golf ever.
Nice. Good
And
for him.
he's won some tournaments that he's played in for years. And to win a tournament, there's golf and then there's tournament golf.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother animal. It's like giving your opinion and then preaching a sermon. It's like, saying one line godly and then putting together 30 minutes. Boy, that is a whole nother deal. And Pete has had a great year of golf, and he puts it on Facebook so people can know.
Yeah, which
Good for him.
Yeah.
yeah, I think you definitely should. It's not an easy sport. I got Danny, a buddy of ours.
I see it up
Yeah,
there.
he's a beast at golf.
He's a beast at golf.
I just, I live near the golf course now too, so I almost felt like this thing, like, okay, I should. In the back of my mind, I've been like, all right, one of these days, I'm gonna get into golfing. But
Yeah.
it's such a commitment. It's something. We went golfing this year. I think I've been twice this year, and something we might start doing like a little bit more. But people that golf usually aren't golfing 3 times a summer. They're golfing 3 times a week.
Right. It's we often talk about it, us golfers, about, oh boy, there's a lot to talk about with golf. But yeah, to be good, you've got to play.
Yeah.
And it takes time. And Jerry Seinfeld said, well, golf's an acronym. Get out, leave family. Golf. Get out, leave family. So it can be hard on the family, but then when your kids start to come, that can be actually nurturing.
Yeah,
and
I could see
good
that.
stuff.
I could see that.
But there's a balancing act with it, and you should do it, but also always keep a level of expectation in check. In other words, if you play a good round of golf, don't expect that the next time you go out.
Right.
I mean, or what is a good round?
What time of the day do you fit it in? Because as a salesman, you get some flexibility there, and I would actually have that same flexibility. But
evenings.
Okay.
Or what I did this year that was new for our family was take one day a week, and you don't have to come home at a certain time. Where there's no level of expectation about when I come home. So I would tee off at 4, and we'd play till dark, and we'd go to the bar afterwards, eat, have another beer, and I get home at 11.
Who came up with that idea?
Maybe my wife, maybe me, maybe a culmination, just watching friends do it.
Yeah.
And it was good because boys have to be boys. You're a better dad when you can
Hang out with the boys.
Yeah. As long as they're good. I mean, somewhat good boys. That said, you just got to find something to recharge your batteries and something that you enjoy. And I enjoy golf. I've played it my whole life. And then when you can find a group of guys that want to do it in a similar fashion together, gambling, you'll gamble a little bit. You got to find somebody that wants to gamble about the same amount that you want to gamble a little bit. And then can everyone go at the same time on the same course?
My wife, she doesn't like to gamble at all, so I found someone who likes to gamble just as much as I do.
You don't gamble at all.
And so we just hang out at home.
There. Okay. You got the boys to hang. You got guys to hang out with a little bit.
Yeah. These guys.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of my time. I mean, we've spent a lot of time together as of recently with his birthday and his birthday stuff, and then
and you guys work out what 3 days, 4 days, 5 days a week?
I tried 2-4, but it's
2-4. What 2
I
2
try to
4?
work out 4 days a week. I'm sorry.
Settle on 2.
But it's been difficult. Lately I have been, because it's just been difficult. There's
These
been a
guys
lot
know.
of stuff going on.
These guys know.
They do. So
I'm kind of a 2 guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
you can
Twice a week? No way.
well.
Call BS.
I've done it since I've been 16. Good genetics, and I've committed 15 hard years. Right, really hard years. Hard meaning eating big, lifting big.
Ugh.
You know, and just eating and eating and eating and eating
a lot of work.
and
It's
eating.
literally what I'm doing right now. I just started my bulk on
There you
Monday,
go.
and it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm tracking my calories, and I'm like, still
What are you
got,
trying to get? 4,500, 5,000?
So right now I'm just doing 3,500 because I just came out of like a.
5,000? Anyway.
He's way bigger than me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I just came out of like I was doing like 1,800, 2,000. I was doing a cut.
Yeah.
And then so now I don't even think I necessarily need 3,500 to start, but I'm just trying to hit it.
What are you trying to
hard.
weigh? Are you trying to hit to 210 or?
So right now I think it'd be fun. So I'm at like 175. I'd like to get around 190. Just to like
test drive it. Do it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the funnest part is like just kind of experimenting, just seeing what works for me.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay.
In like 3 days.
And you're lifting 5 days a week now.
I'm doing
right?
6.
6 days a
Two-
week
and 2
plus
nights
2
of
days.
boxing.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
A body part twice a week.
Yep. So I do. I finally switched to the classic like push pull legs.
Yeah.
It's,
So push pull in the same day.
no, I'm doing Mondays push, Tuesdays pull.
So
Wednesdays
chest and tris,
legs.
back and bis, legs. And three
Yep,
routines.
back bis. So chest, shoulders, tris.
Okay. Yep.
Back bis, and then just hitting the legs.
Rep
hard.
range 6 to 10.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm pretty much doing like 3 to 8 to start, and I'm finally doing like 3 by 8. I mean, and I'm finally doing like progressive overload, tracking all that and stuff. So.
Got it. I got out of the screenshot there.
I think
but-
most of the time is with you outside of the screen.
I didn't even think about that.
I don't know if that actually was he. Okay, whatever.
Because I've been looking in it.
Yeah, I
haven't
kind
seen
of
him
tracked
there.
over here, didn't I?
Maybe
That's
a
all
little
right.
bit. Oh yeah, no worries.
You know, one thing if there was one with
Keep
everything
starting.
that you've
Oh,
done in the
sorry.
gym, with everything that you've done in the gym to have the body that you have, which is, yeah, you're killing it. You got the body that most guys walking around are like, that's what I want. You know, is it the routine that you have, the diet that you have, the lifts that you're doing, the range that you're doing, all those things like that. If I had to speculate on the number one thing is your muscle connection is much better. Your mind-muscle connection
yeah.
is probably very, very good from doing that all of these years, that you know how to connect each muscle as you're doing it, and you're getting much more effectiveness out of your workouts than the average person that's just jumping into it. Even doing the same exact thing you're doing will not get the same results you're doing because they can't make that same mind-muscle connection.
Yeah, that's big. Boy, I don't know if I can even take the credit. Just because
Trying to ramp it up and you keep freaking talking.
sorry.
Hey,
sorry, Chris.
throw your headphones on. Let's wrap it
go.
up. Okay.
All right, we lost one. Yep.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Chris.
See you, buddy.
Thank you, Chris.
See you, I'll give
That's
you.
why he brought up that 3 o'clock thing. He had to get
'Cause
going.
he
Yeah,
had to
that
go.
makes sense.
He's like, yeah, I'm just looking out for you. He's like sweating beads. Just come on, Paul.
I'm a salesman. I do whatever I want. We'd be here all day. I don't care. Yeah, maybe mind as you age, you noted squeeze the muscle that much harder, and go for the pump.
Yeah.
I mean Arnold and what's Arnold's movie Pumping Iron?
Yep.
He talks about the pump and how it's sexual
Yeah.
almost.
I'm coming all the time. Like, I'm coming day and
Right.
night. That's how it feels.
Have you seen it, Ben? Have you seen Pumping
No, I
Iron?
haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
that's what he says. I'm
Yeah,
not just
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that. But yeah, he compares it to climaxing. When
The
he gets
actual
that-
pump,
when he
yeah.
just gets that pump. He's like,
I get
the
that.
skin tearing. Like
Right.
it's just a good feeling.
And he's doing concentrations and just really going, more reps.
Yeah, I'd say recently the quality of my reps has improved probably more than anything.
Do you think Mandy is a lot of that, or just other stuff
I
in
think,
general?
yeah, that and just being a lot more aware and just taking
Yep.
this more seriously. Because I never did like progressive overload, and then I realized it's been like 2 years, and I've still just been benching close to the same thing. And
Right.
it's like, you know what? I really got to start.
So progressive overload, kind of a pyramid. You keep adding weight.
Yep. So I just
Keep
made
dropping.
I just made like a little spreadsheet of all the exercises that I'm comfortable doing, and then a few blanks, so I can put my starting point, and then after like a week, try to go up, see if
Yeah.
I can't,
Yeah.
and then put that, if I'm able to, put that as my new.
Do you lift with a spotter?
I haven't been, and that's what's made it kind of tough as well. Like where I really want to push myself, and it's just like, but I've lately
Grab
been
one of these
going-
guys, yeah.
Yep. So up until recently, my workout time was just much different from theirs, and now I've been working out around the same time as them, so I've been able to call them in for spots. And
which
stuff
is
like that.
which is good. And I was going to say, I've tried to work out with other people my whole life, and I'm just not that organized. Or the people that I'm trying to work out with, we're just not that organized as far as this time of day. But if you can lift while these guys are lifting and just grab them, and I'm attempting to answer your question within this question, go to failure. Go to failure +1, +2, +3. Plus meaning I can't do another one, but with a spotter, I can get three more, and then do a drop set right after that. In other words, take off 30% of the weight,
Yep.
squeeze it out, do another drop set after that.
Do you do that with a lot of your exercises in general, or would you
Yes.
say just really?
Yeah,
Failure, drop set.
Drop set.
How many total sets?
You know what? I've never really counted the number of sets.
Yep.
I'll do 3 exercises per body part.
Okay. And you
Roughly.
do full body each workout, right?
No, yes and no. In fact, when we've talked about doing a full body, I've said to you, I'll go back to lifting like a bodybuilder. In other words, 1 body part per time. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. Even though every time I go in, I'll do one set per body part every time I go in. Just a mini pump, just to warm things up. My shoulders don't work like they should. I've had AC joint issues since I've been 17, AC joints right on top of your shoulder. And I've hurt my shoulders bench pressing. And so it just takes more for me to get warmed up. And knowing that I need to warm up is just kind of evolved into, hey, every time I go in, I'm going to get a little pump on every body part. Probably don't do the legs.
Interesting.
Like
I might try that at some point.
Well-
in isolation with still hitting
Right.
some full body throughout it. Because right now I'm not even lifting, but my main routine is basically full body every workout.
Yep.
But I do miss the aspect of just really shredding the chest one
Right.
day. And
What do you
back
got
one
today,
day and all
Ben?
that. Yeah.
Right.
I miss a little bit of that aspect for sure. And maybe there's a lot of nostalgia attached to that. But so what me, Zach, and Chris have been going through all different levels is working with Mandy.
Who's this Mandy? I've heard Mandy.
Nelson. She's one of my coaches here.
Okay.
And she is incredibly educated in functional movement. And
Kind of a kinesiologist. Does she have a kines degree or exercise science or something?
I'm not sure about
Sure.
that, but she is easily the most qualified person. I don't know. Her
She's
exact
hosted workshops for physical
credentials.
therapists to
Yeah.
learn the things that she's teaching.
Yep.
So I'll just kind of explain like my own scenario. What I've been able to learn, we've been working with her for like 3-4 months now, is think of it like this. They say when you build muscle, you're going to increase your metabolism because your body's burning calories, right? And I always assumed that was just from the tearing muscle from the actual exercise that you're doing, and then it's the burning calories to recover that, right? But that's not actually the whole picture. Having muscle burns calories.
That's what I was thinking of.
Using that muscle is what's required to burn the calories, not just having it.
So, right, having muscle is burning more.
Yep.
I would think.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I
more
guess they're-
thermogenic,
Maybe
definitely.
I'm trying to figure this out as I'm doing because I'm learning this. But what I realize in just my daily movement of just standing or leaning or walking, just all the just different movements, just even like how I did a plank, everything was in a movement that trying to conserve energy, and you find yourself kind of leaning or resting on joints and not using and engaging all of the muscles that are required in that position to stand. And that difference, just retraining your body to use the right muscles as you walk, because often you have to make some shifts in how you move, your alignment, all those things like that. It feels as though or even just sitting in chairs like this and not having that backrest all the time, right? Forcing yourself to use your core and that alignment, and it feels, I can't even explain how great it feels. It's literally like becoming a new person of like, all of a sudden like, oh man, I got these muscles, I can feel them now. They were there before, but now I can feel them, and I'm using them, and I don't feel so depleted of muscle with gaps in between workouts because it's getting used all day. But you might think you're already doing that. Most people would probably think you're already doing that. And it's kind of complicated to figure out where your holes might be. in that, and often you can pretty much tell, like looking at you, you're totally connecting your muscle. You're using that all the time. And other people that might not have the same muscle development, but they're in the gym quite a bit, they're probably missing. They probably have some bad movement patterns and bad muscle connection. And so that's what I've been relearning it, and it's humbling because I've been teaching. I've been a trainer and then also helping to teach trainers. And now it's sort of like lifting the house up, tearing out the foundation, redoing that foundation better to put it back down.
And
That's the scenario I'm in right now.
I don't think that ever stops.
Yeah.
I think in 10 years, we're going to sit here, in 5 years, a year, and you're going to say, boy, do I know more than my 30-year-old self. It just never stops.
Yeah.
With every subject, most subjects, the subjects maybe that are most important to us. Yeah. Tear out the foundation.
Yeah.
Start over.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've probably gone way past the time. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah,
This has been a lot of fun. I think we'll definitely do it again down the road. And thanks for listening, everybody.
Love it. Yep. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.